Hey everybody, and welcome to October's Wine of the Month Club. I'm here with my best friend in the world, Brandon Warnke, who also happens to run Wine Library and Wine Text. Brandon, how are you?
Good. How are you, Gary?
I'm quite well, good friend. Let's go into the first wine.
Sure. So we've got 3 wines this month. This is the Bernard Momborg Alsace Gewürztraminer. This is why I think wine clubs are so much fun, because I'm just wondering, like how many people do you think on this club have had Gewürztraminer? Like
in this club, probably 6 to 7%. Yeah, and obviously, the reason we put the Gewürz here for everybody is Gewürz is a dominant Thanksgiving wine. So I wanted to get it in your hands in October, or we could have done this in November. This is an incredible producer from a very high grade single vineyard. These wines are incredibly fun to drink this time of year. The same way I think about pumpkin spice, I think about Alsatian whites and German whites and certain Italian whites. I just get very fall-like. I'm a big soup fan, as you know, Brandon, as being one of my dearest friends. And so like when I think about squash soup or things of that nature, I find high acid whites like this pair extremely well with that. I'm really excited about this. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. A lot of white fruit, Brand.
Yep. Stone fruit.
Yeah, a lot of stone white, kind of a crushed rock meets figs, white melon. Really great bouquet. Very aromatic wines. A lot of people like to drink these cold, which is great, but don't make it too cold because you'll lose a lot of the essence of these wines. Try to find that perfect temperature. Let's give it a whirl.
We also talk to people coming in for a Gewürztraminer. A lot of times we recommend, people that are drinking Moscato or things like that. This is like a big step up from Moscato. Has a little bit of that sweetness to it. Good acidity. These are awesome wines.
Definitely this would be considered sweet by most people's standards, but this is not too sweet because the acidity and the sharpness kind of collide with the sweetness, which really creates the aperitif that I love so much. To me, this is kind of what a lot of people are looking for in wine, but they don't want to admit that they like sweet wine. Everyone's so insecure out there, Brandon. To me, this is exactly what I want. I want like something that's downright delicious. This is the kind of wine I want to drink, like on a Saturday when the friends come over for like movie night or game night or dinner. Like this gets you right into the right mindset. Like this is like delicious. It's fun. It's like sets off the night proper. You know what I mean, B-Dub?
It's also cool. Like you mentioned Thanksgiving. It's also a really cool food wine for like spicy food, for Indian food, Middle Eastern food, Moroccan food, different kinds of foods, right? Gewürztraminer is your way to go.
Very good call out. I totally agree with you. Sushi, very flexible wine. For a lot of you, this will be a hair too sweet. For more of you, I'm giving you the courage to admit that you like wines that have some sweetness into it. I love them. This is not too sweet in that dessert wine, though it could play in dessert. This can play with cheese. This can play with cheesecake. It's a big time wine. By the way, I don't know what the main critics score this brand, but if this was Wine Library TV, 92 points. This is a monster.
Yeah, I think it was 92 or 93 points.
Makes sense. Right. Cool. Let's move on. Where do you want to go? Pinot time?
Yeah, I think we'll do Pinot. So this is the Maramar Pinot Noir. This is a big estate. Actually, a lot of you probably know Maramar from Spain, but this is their California estate. And here we're talking River Valley, which is, the home for great Chardonnay, great Pinot Noir domestically. This is from a single block within a single vineyard. So it's the Don Miguel vineyard. This is called the Earthquake block.
Earthquake.
Great vintage, great producer. And you said Thanksgiving before.
That was my earthquake.
I mean, we're really preparing early for Thanksgiving, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because with the Gewürz and now the Pinot Noir, right? These are both, epic wines with that in mind.
So, as you know, Brandon, I had a dinner this last Tuesday with some heavy hitters, just mapping my way to the New York Jets. And so we drank some serious wines. I also posted the Dujac. I think you saw that, right? But like that night, Rousseau and Clos-de-Tar, like crazy stuff, like very sought after, very expensive red Burgundy. Tasting this wine doesn't have the full depth, but geez, those wines are $400, $500, $700. Doesn't have the full depth in the mid palate, but up front and finish wise, this wine's crazy. And the only thing that keeps me away from saying this is a $300-400 Pinot Noir is the middle speaks more to a $70-80 Pinot Noir. But this is a really good expression of Pinot. Really great raspberries, cranberries, red fruit. A little hint of leather. Like I don't know if when I played baseball, I would bite my glove. So this has like a little bit of like Little League baseball glove flavors. But this is a beautiful Pinot.
And you hit it exactly. The winery sells this, I think, for $66 or $68. You're right in there. And Marimar is known for Pinot and Chardonnay, right? Again, Russian River Valley. This is what they do, and they do so many different vineyards. They have a lot of different vineyard sources, but they're all so good. I thought this was outstanding.
That was really good. Sorry, I got sidetracked with the text. All right, final wine. Shiraz time. I'm a little pissed, and then I'm a little pissed that Shiraz is cold. I would argue that Shiraz is cold. Like, we're not selling it the way, I looked at some numbers the other day, like Shiraz is cold, and it's a real mistake because they're really underpriced.
I mean, for me, and like when I first started at Wine Library,
I know that was the
all about Shiraz.
Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
I love Shiraz because it made you like wine, and I was scared you were going to quit if you didn't end up liking wine.
And the other thing too is Shiraz, right? Like,
you
this is now.
Once. You were going to move to Boston or do something crazy, but I talked you out of the ledge.
That's correct.
Well, actually, you actually did once quit because you didn't listen to me and you started working at Shoppers Discount Liquors before I got home from school, and you actually worked there, and you did actually quit. And then when I came home from school, you took a different job, and then you quit that job and came to Wine Library. But in that first year or two, actually, it's one of the great lessons of my career. Behind the store, sitting on the curb after 7-Eleven, you were like, hey, I don't know if this is for me. I'm thinking about moving to Boston. And what I took out, I don't remember a whole lot, but I remember that. I remember a conversation we had downstairs in the basement in our shared office. But the punchline was, you said to me, you wanted to do more. And what was happening was I was micromanaging the fun stuff, and we both liked the buying and selling and writing of emails. And I remember it was a crossroads for me. It was an early lesson in my career of, oh my God, I'm going to lose my best friend because I'm over micromanaging. I don't think I micromanage, but I'm keeping the stuff I love to do. He loves the same stuff I love to do, which is why we became friends in the first place at Sports Cards. I need to relinquish some of it. And it was an early lesson in me being thoughtful about micromanaging. It's really easy not to micromanage when everyone else is doing shit that you don't want to be doing. But when you have somebody that's great that also wants to do the same things, you better learn real fast how to share the ball.
Well, but you also sensed, and I think I mentioned, like, it was just, a lot of it was also wine. Like, I just didn't get it. Like, I didn't get why someone would pay $60 for this when I thought $10 wines were just as good. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what I felt. I couldn't get it.
By the way, I went through the same thing. Everything tastes like red and white wine the first year or two. I was petrified. Fun stuff. Anyway.
But what you were saying about Australia, like, I think it is coming back a little bit. I mean, there is still a stigma, I think, and I think a lot of people steer away from it because they think they're these big fruit bombs, which a lot of them are.
For everybody who's watching who doesn't know what we're talking about, in the late 90s, early 2000s, Australia exploded. I would argue I made my name on Australian wine. Duck Muck and all that. I was so right. They got 99, 98 Parker. And everybody loved what we're tasting here. Huge fruit, huge deliciousness. It tastes like raspberry chocolate cake, this wine. And like everyone got really into it. It's almost like the steroids era of baseball. The McGuire Bond stuff. Everyone's like, this is fun. And it was like almost too much. You can't eat cake for every meal. Even right now, Andrew from my team, who's like how much wine? How much? Beautiful. Andrew, not a big wine person. I gave it to him, and his head nod right away. It's delicious. This wine's delicious.
Right.
But like, it got too out delicious that now people are looking for balance and like natural wines and orange wines and terroir. But like, don't we eat dessert too? My argument to the wine world is I understand that we eat appetizers and a mousse bouche and like a real meal and like elegance, but like when that's over, you eat like a Grand Marnier souffle or like a chocolate on chocolate explosion cake. Well, sometimes I want Pinot Noir from Marimar, but like, aren't I allowed, if I'm watching UFC 300, like this is what I want to pop, especially with my friends who are going to say this is delicious versus being confused by a elegant $100 red Burgundy. Like, stop being douchey and have some fun.
And when you think about some of those wines, like from Marquis Phillips, or like even Marquis Phillips Integrity, remember that? Like,
oh my God.
And the Molly Peter stuff, insane.
The sugar to the head. Anyway, I find this to be a lot of fun, super fun wine. Go great with steak, by the way, for the amount of steak, the amount of beef, the amount of quail with hot, heavy sauce, like any decadent protein with this wine is like a match made in heaven. And heaven's a good place to go. So I would try this if I were you. I'm really proud of this month, Brandon. I think we loaded it up. Good job. Thank you for setting it up. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back in November. By the way, the Jets are 2-2, which has me on cloud 9. Big game against the Dolphins this week. I'm hyped.